by eating the remnants of the offering. Without engaging in these simple but powerful practices of devotion, one cannot understand the experience of transcendence. However, both the neophyte and advanced devotees experience transcendental happiness by engaging in Krishna consciousness. For the advanced devotee, transcendental happiness is sustained and ever increasing. The neophyte devotee has glimpses of transcendental happiness because of impure desires that will eventually diminish in importance as he advances in Krishna consciousness, and progressively his blissful spiritual nature manifests and is sustained without any impediment due to his purification by constant service and thinking of Krishna. Gaur Premanandi Haribol. Any questions about that? I have a question. I have a question. So if you understand, the question is, the philosopher says, you say that the means and the end are the same in Krishna consciousness. He said, there must be some difference between when a person is trying to become Krishna conscious and then and after they actually become Krishna conscious. And there's an example for you. If you have a sewing machine in this world and somehow it's liberated and goes back to Vaikuntha, it still remains a sewing machine. But instead of sewing for Pierre Cardin, it sews for Lord Krishna. That's the only difference. So the means is sewing, and the end is sewing. But in this world, it was sewing sometimes for Pierre Cardin, sometimes for the temple. Now it's sewing 100% for the temple. So in the material world, the means to get back to Godhead is by engaging in devotional service. And when you actually go back to the spiritual world, you're engaged in devotional service. So the means and the end are the same. The only difference is, when you begin devotional service in this world, your faith, or our faith, is weak. We're just in the beginning stage. But when you go back to this, when you achieve Krishna consciousness, whether in this world or in the spiritual world, your faith is unbreakable. And along with that unbreakable faith, your devotion is consistently regular and pure. Whereas in the earlier stages, our devotion is punctuated with different material desires and doubts and, let's say, weak faith. However, even so, once you're engaged in devotional service, quickly, if you have a bona fide, gurus, Siksha and Diksha gurus, quickly your faith becomes stronger, material desires begin to evaporate, and because of that, you can make very quick advancement to the point where once you're initiated and then you no longer engage in, let's say, activities that take your mind and away from Krishna consciousness, at that point all your anarthas, or bad, let's say, habits, become purified under the scrutiny of the spiritual master or masters, and then your faith becomes very strong. As soon as you give up bad habits and consecrate more time to Krishna consciousness, very quickly the doubts and the attraction to bad habits goes away. And then you begin to have very strong faith. So the position of a devotee is determined by how much faith they have. And faith is something that's always tested. There will always be problems in the material world, and our faith is going to be tested, whether we are dedicated to Krishna or not. As we've said before, it's easy to be Krishna conscious when everything is going all right. But the real test that a person is Krishna conscious is when things are not going all right. When there's a flood in Chennai, or when there's some problem, economic problems here, or you have a health problem. So that's when your faith is tested. But usually, very advanced devotees do not waver whether things are going all right or not. They do not waver even if their body is very, let's say, sick. They continue their service. And actually the minimum service and the most important service is chanting Hare Krishna. So they don't let anything disturb them from chanting the prescribed number of rounds a day. That means that they have great faith and determination. So the neophyte devotee, just beginning devotional service, and the highly advanced devotee, both are engaged in devotional service. And when you're engaged in devotional service, you're actually liberated. The only difference is the advanced devotee is always liberated. Iha yasya hare dasya karmana manasajira akilasvapyavastasu jivan mukta sa uchyate. It says that a person who engages their mind, their senses, their body, their intelligence, their money, their house, everything in the service of Krishna is considered to be Jivan Mukta, liberated even in this world, because they have no other interest than to please Krishna through all the different assets that they have, like good intelligence, like good, let's say, decision making, whatever. Everything, every asset they had, they used that to please the Lord. So they are liberated even in this body, even in this world. And as we discussed, anukuliyasya sankalpa pratikuyasya varjanam rakshisyayati vishvaso gotritre varanam tata atmanikse prakarpanye sadvida saranagati. They are engaged in the 6 symptoms of surrender, saranagati, to the Lord. They accept everything favorable for the service of the Lord, and they reject everything that's not favorable. They accept only Krishna as their protector. They don't have anything else that they consider going to protect them. And they depend completely on the mercy of Krishna. And whatever happens to them, they accept as the mercy of Krishna. And next, they don't have any interest outside of Krishna consciousness. And then, lastly, they engage in devotional service with an attitude of humility and meekness. They don't think they are Terminator 3. The judge, the jury, and the executioner. So these are symptoms of someone who's actually surrendered to Krishna. And one does not perfect those 6 stages of saranagati, or surrender to Krishna, right away. But when a person performs devotional service, they are practicing those 6 things, because they're consecrating their time to Krishna. They're thinking about Krishna when they're doing it. They feel protected while they're doing it. And of course, they desire to feel meek and helpless, because they have faith that Krishna is their protector. So, devotional service is the position of freedom. In fact, Krishna says it begins after liberation. In order to engage in devotional service, Krishna explains, Yesam twantagatam papam jananam punyakarmanam te dvandva mohanirmakta bhajante mam dhritavataha. In the 7th chapter, Krishna explains that only those persons who have engaged in pious activities in previous lives and in this life, and whose sinful reactions from performing sinful activities in previous lives and in this life are completely eradicated. These people are freed from the dualities of delusion, and they engage themselves in my service with determination. So therefore, if a person is engaged in devotional service, it means that they have been freed from their previous karma, and they're free relatively from bad, let's say, activities even in this life. That's why they're given a chance to associate with devotees and given a chance to offer service to Krishna. Those eligible for elevation to the transcendental position are mentioned in this verse. For those who are sinful, atheistic, foolish, and deceitful, it's very difficult to transcend the duality of desire and hate. Now, that's the thing that keeps people in this world. The duality of desires. And when they're frustrated, hatred for the persons or the things that are holding them back from getting their desires. So they're always wavering between these two feelings, desire and hate. Right? Between kama and badla. Is that the right word? Yeah. So most people, their whole life, they're going like a ping pong ball between these two emotions, desire and hatred. So, for those who are sinful, atheistic, foolish, and deceitful, it's very difficult to transcend the duality of desire and hate. Only those who have passed their lives in practicing the regulative principles of religion, who have acted piously, and who have conquered sinful reactions, only they can accept devotional service and gradually rise to the platform, to the knowledge, to the pure knowledge of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Then, gradually, they can meditate in trance on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is the process of being situated on the spiritual platform. This elevation is possible in Krishna consciousness, in the association of pure devotees. For in the association of great devotees, one can be delivered from delusion, from desire and hate. This is what bewilders people. They have so many desires, they can't have everything. And then even the things that they really want, there's obstacles, and then creates hatred and envy and so many things. It is stated in the Srimad Bhagavatam 5.5.2 that if one actually wants to be liberated, he must render service to the devotees. Mahat Sevam Dwaram Ahur Vimukta. So, Mahat Sevam, serving a great devotee, is the Dwaram, the door to the spiritual world. And serving materialistic people who are addicted to all those wonderful bad habits, drinking, smoking, illicit activities and so forth, that is the Dwaram, the door to hell. That association. But one who associates with materialistic people is on the path leading to the darkest region of existence, Tamodwaram, Yositam Sangi Sangam. So what is that Tamodwaram? Associating with people who are addicted to illicit sex and everything that goes along with that. Drinking, gambling, meat eating, and so forth. That's the thing that can destroy devotional service almost immediately. All the devotees of the Lord traverse this earth just to recover the conditioned souls from their delusion. So this is If you know what the diagnosis is of the sickness, you can give the right medicine. The diagnosis of the sickness is this tamo dwaram yosita sangi sangam. Being addicted to illicit sex and the things that go along with it, and to people who are thinking about that all day long. Well, there's a famous picture of Sigmund Freud. I don't know if you ever saw it. You see his head. He has a beard and his glasses on. But his hair is in the form of the body of a woman. You ever see that picture? No? You have a smartphone? It's a very famous picture. And it epitomizes the mentality of materialistic people. They look like a person, but actually their brain is covered with this picture of a naked woman. And that's what they're meditating on all day. That's why they're working so hard to make money. That's why when they have money, they go to Las Vegas, or they go to the casino, or they go to those places where they can find what they're looking for. So, this tamodwaram yosita sangi sangam, that is the path leading to the darkest region of hell, according to Rishabhadev, 5th canto, 5th chapter, 2nd verse. But the devotees, they go everywhere in this world, and they try to recover, try to help the people that are in this type of mentality, and lead them away from that, from the delusion of desire and hate, by helping them get some mahaprasada, some mahaburrito. We see it every Saturday, right? What do you see on the street there every Saturday?
There are different kinds of people. People who regularly walk into all sorts of restaurants. Then people who smoke. People who
Deal.
Yeah.
Dealing marijuana, smoking marijuana. And no, I mean, it's sad. It's very, very sad.
One time we saw a person with 2 arms on his
Yes, yeah. They do. They disfigure themselves now to look like devils. That's a very popular thing. That they've gone. People are going crazy. So, all the devotees of the Lord traverse this earth just to recover the conditioned souls from their delusion. The impersonalists do not know that forgetting their constitutional position as subordinate to the Supreme Lord is the greatest violation of God's law. That's why even more dangerous than the materialists are the monists, the impersonalists, the people that say that Jiva becomes Paramatma by doing some yoga. Right? In other words, they actually think that they can merge into God and become one with God. Or even the worst ones, they think they can become better than God. Right? Or they become God. So this is even worse than the people who have horns on their forehead and smoking marijuana and doing all nonsense all day long. Even worse. Because they forget that we're eternally the servant of God. And that God is a person, and no one can emulate Him. But we can join Him by engaging in His service. So, therefore, that's called the greatest violation of God's law. What is God's law? Sarvadharman purityaja mam ekam saranam raja aham tvam sarvapapebhyo moksisyami ma suchaha manmana bhava madbhakto madhyajimam namaskuru mam evaisisi satyam te pratijane priyosi me sarvaguya tanam guya shrinu me paramam vacha istosti me jidam iti tato vakshami. tehitam. Arjuna, completely surrender unto Krishna. This is the most secret of all secrets that I am speaking to you. Sarvaguya tamambuya. Shrinu me paramam vacha. Listen very carefully. Shrinu. Listen very carefully to this supreme instruction. Istosti me dridam iti. This is for your benefit, Arjuna. That's why I'm speaking to you now, sincerely. Tato vaikyam tehitam. This, I'm speaking to you for your ultimate benefit. Manmana bhava madbhakto madhyajimam namaskuru mam evaisasi satyam te pratijane priyosime. Always think of me, manmana bhava, with your man. Madbhakto, become my devotee. Madhyaji, worship me. Mam namaskuru, offer all your homage, your respect, and your love to me. If you do this, Madhyaji mam namaskuru, mam evaisyasi satyam te. Mam eva, he said, if you do this, I guarantee you, satyam te, pratijane priyosa, you will come back to me because you're very dear to me. You've become dear to me by always thinking of me, worshipping me, becoming my devotee, which means you serve the Lord, and all offering your homage and love, your namaskuru, your namas to the Lord. Sarvadharmam parityaja mamikam saranam braja. Therefore, give up all other conceptions of dharma and accept the supreme dharma, sharanam. Sarvadharmam parityaja mamikam saranam braja. Only surrender to me. Notice he doesn't say Sarvadeva saranam braja or Barack Hussein Obama saranam braja. No. He didn't say anything like that. Or stump for Trump saranam braja. He didn't say that. He said, surrender unto me only. And if you do this, aham tvam sarva papibhyo, I will release you from any sins incurred in the process of serving me. Therefore, you have nothing to worry about, nothing to doubt, nothing to be anxious about. Ma sucha. So this is Krishna's ultimate instruction to Arjuna. The whole Bhagavad Gita is centered around these 3 verses of Sharanam. So a person who accepts that becomes liberated even in this world, and no longer subject to birth, death, old age, and disease. Birth, death, old age, and disease can't stop the person from engaging in the service of Krishna. The only thing that can stop us is desire and hatred and the delusion that goes along with it. That's the only thing. So therefore, the symptom of the devotees is satatam kirtayanto mam jatanchas cha dhritarata namasyantas chamam bhaktya nitya-yukta upasate. These are the symptoms of a genuine devotee. Always chanting the glories of the Lord. Endeavoring with great determination. Bowing down before me, Krishna says. These great souls perpetually worship me with devotion. So you can't do that if you're an impersonalist. You're not going to bow down to Krishna when you think you're becoming Krishna by meditation. And you're not going to chant Hare Krishna because you think silent meditation is superior to this emotional chanting. And you're not going to even enjoy nice prasadam because you think, no, I should eat, just neem leaves so I can become more strong in my meditation. They don't know. I don't know if you've ever been to maybe we should go. You can see what it's like. You go to a Buddhist temple, or especially a Zen Buddhist temple. Jai Shri Radha Madhava Ki Jai. All they do is meditate, in silence usually, or sometimes they mumbo jumbo some mantra. And then, but if while you're meditating, if you don't hold your back straight, the guru comes up while I have your eyes closed and slaps you really hard on the back, like that. And, and you realize, oh, you were slumping over a little bit. Does that sound? What do you think we could get away with doing that here? No, it's ridiculous, and it's very boring. Here, there's life. You have Tulsi Vivaha, you have Janmashtami, and you have Ram Navami, and you have all these things, a festival, and every day the deities are nicely dressed. There's nothing. You just meditate like that all day long. How long can you do that? So, in this purport to 9:14, it says, in devotional service there are certain activities which are called determined, such as fasting on certain days, like Ekadasi, on the appearance of the Lord, Janmashtami. All these rules and regulations are offered by the great acharyas for those who are actually interested in getting admission into the association of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the transcendental world. Great souls, the Mahatmas, strictly observe all these rules and regulations, and therefore they are sure to achieve the desired success, the desired result. As described in the second verse of this chapter, not only is this devotional service easy, but it can be performed in a happy mood. Raja Vidya Raja Guyam Pavitam Idam Uttamam Pratyakshavagaman Dharmam Susukam Kartam Avyayam. Krishna says, 9th chapter, 2nd verse, this is the king of all knowledge, Raja Vidya. Raja Guyam, it's the most secret of all secrets. Pavitam Idam Uttamam. It's completely pure. And it's Uttama, completely above any influence of the mode of ignorance. Uttama. Pratyakshavagaman Dharmam. It is the perfection of religion because it gives direct perception of yourself and your relationship to Krishna. And Susukam Kartam Avyayam. It's full of happiness. And Avyayam, it's unending. So, this is perfect. This perfectly corresponds to the heart of every living entity. They want to be happy forever. They don't want to be happy for a little bit and sad for a long time. And so this Krishna consciousness is happily performed. And one doesn't have to undergo any severe penance and austerity. Oh, sorry, Gurudev. Oh, straighten out my back. It's a bunch of nonsense. How many people can do that? Very few people can do that. He can live this life in devotional service guided by an expert spiritual master. And in any position, either as a householder or a sannyasi or a brahmachari, in any position and anywhere in the world, he or she can perform this devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead and thus become actually Mahatma, a great soul. In other words, it doesn't matter, this is not just for sannyasis. You can be anything. Brahmachari, brahmacharini, grihastha, vanaprastha, sannyasi. As long as you have a bona fide guru, and as long as you follow the process of sadhana bhakti, devotion with rules and regulations. Then later on, sadhana bhakti becomes raganuga bhakti, where you master the rules and regulations and now you have spontaneous attraction to Krishna. That's the symptom of the devotees in the spiritual world. They have spontaneous attraction to the Lord. We're not at that stage. We have spontaneous attraction to Bollywood movies, spontaneous attraction to different things that take us away from Krishna. But when you have spontaneous attraction for Krishna, you have achieved the pinnacle of devotional service. So, So, this Raga Nuga stage is not something one can imitate. It comes very, very gradually by following the rules and regulations. At first, just like we have a teacher downstairs that teaches violin. So the first day, the child is taught how to hold the violin. So they go like this. The teacher said, hold the bow like this, okay, and hold the violin like that. So it's a little uncomfortable for the child. And said, now go like this. And the kid goes, it makes this funny sound. It's not music. It's like, and the teacher said, okay, well, try it again. Like that. Well, try it again. It's very good. That's your first lesson. Right? I remember when I had a violin teacher when I was very young. He said, well, the first lesson is about scratch-a-doodle. I said, what? Scratch-a-doodle. The only sound you'll make is scratch-a-doodle. Like that. But if you stay with the teacher, gradually you'll start playing Beethoven's Fifth Symphony with the violin. You'll get really good at it. So that's our position. We begin, and we don't really know much, but we're trying. But as long as you have bona fide guru, then you will make steady advancement toward Krishna. And from any position. From any position. Okay. So I think we'll stop right there. Are there any questions anyone wants to ask? No question. There must be one question. Go ahead, Kumar, ask a question.
We were not having a discussion about the impediments of doing the devotional service. And that day you mentioned about three things. And today you added two more things. That day you mentioned karma, yoga, and jnana. All these three things are impediments to devotional service. And today, desire.
Huh? Yeah.
So totally about 5 things that are impediments. And oftentimes it goes unnoticed until it comes to a point where the devotee stops the devotional service. And at that point he realizes
well, the karma, jnana, and yoga, if they're done under the, let's say, instruction of a bona fide guru, they can be stepping stones. But if they're done, someone that's not bona fide, they become impediments. You get stuck. Just like, let's say you're walking up a flight of 20 stairs, but when you get to stair number 10, you get a cramp in your leg, and you can't move, and you get stuck. So that's what happens. People get a cramp on this gradual elevation, and they stay in one place. So then they're called a karma yogi, or they're called a jnana yogi, or a raja yogi, or a stanga yogi, or a kriya yogi. They get stuck. But why do we say that? Because there's a yoga ladder. Yoga ladder, as Krishna reveals, it says, Yoginam api sarve samad gatanantaratma Shadavam bhajate yogam Same yuktitamo matak. And of all the yogis, Arjuna, he who abides in me, who serves me with great love and devotion and faith, and thinks of me within himself always, and renders loving service to me, he is the most intimately united with me in yoga and is the highest of all. That is my opinion. Well, this is the last verse of the 6th chapter. Previous to that, in the previous chapters, 3rd to 6th chapter, he explained karma yoga, jnana yoga, Astanga Yoga, and Bhakti Yoga. And then he says, and of all the yogis, the Bhakti Yogi is the best. So, it's a gradual process, yeah, but you can get stuck. You have to get unstuck. But only bona fide gurus can get you unstuck. So therefore, these Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Astanga Yoga, or Mystic Yoga, they could be impediments. Because people are still self-interested performing those type of yogas. Karma Yoga is interested in good karma. Karma Yogi is interested in good karma. The Jnana Yogi is interested in jnana and mukti. The Karma Yogi is not interested in mukti, but his mukti is a false mukti. It's going to the heavenly planets like Indra Loka and enjoying somarasa and sense gratification. Long periods of sense gratification. Here the sense gratification is short periods. There, very long periods. But they have to fall back down again. Shine punya marti lokam vishanti. They come back when their good karma or punya is finished. And then the Jnana Yogi seeking liberation, but impersonal liberation. So they also fall down. Yene Ravindaksha Vimukta Malina Tvayasta Bhavet Abhisuddha Buddhaya. So Arura Krichena Padam, they have imagined liberation, but as soon as they have the slightest little hint of a material desire, immediately they fall down from Brahman. Brahman is the position of eternality, but if you don't have, if you think you have become God, therefore there's no need to engage in God's service, you fall down. Just one little slight desire, you fall down. And it's sure that they fall down. So then, the third category is the mystic yogi, who evolves the mystic powers and over the forces of nature, even up to the point where Vishwamitra Muni, at one point when he was a mystic yogi, before he became a Raja Rishi, he was able to create an alternate universe. That's how powerful he was. He was able to emulate Brahma in creating an alternate universe. There was this one Sudra that wanted to go to the heavenly planets but didn't want to do all the pujas and austerities. So he tried some ways to get to the heavenly planets, just like Ravana. Ravana tried to build a staircase to Swarga, so anybody could go there. You don't have to do any pious activity. Just it's like an elevator. And this demon tried to do the same thing, and on his way to Swarga, Indra stopped him and threw him back down. And then this person took shelter of Vishwamitra Muni. He said, the Indra is so envious and jealous, I just wanted to go and enjoy up there, and then it won't let me come. So Vishwamitra Muni said, don't worry, I will redress that injustice. So he created an alternate universe with an alternate Indra, and let that person go there. You see, that's how powerful he was. He was also stopped. Indra stopped him by sending Menaka. If you know that story. Yeah. And then they had a child called Sakuntala. It's a big story. Where this big yogi doing meditation he was meditating for 10,000 years, uninterrupted. But then Indra convinced Medika, who was an apsara, were extremely beautiful women, to make him fall down. So first he created a spring-like atmosphere where Vishwamitra was meditating. A very gentle, fragrant, and pleasant breeze. And then Menika was walking toward him, and he could hear her ankle bells jingling, in a very sweet tone. And then this soft breeze was